Welcome, beautiful Paris Saint Germain family. In today's video, we'll be discussing a potential transfer, and at the end of the video, I'll give my yes or no. And that's going Fabian Ruiz to Al Nassr. The first thing that came out, which basically everyone reacted to, was this report. And it came out, from one of these Twitter insiders, so you never know how true it is. Al Nassr delegates are pushing to sign Fabian Ruiz from PSG, trying to convince him to join the Saudi Pro League. Sources suggest approaches have been made by Al Nassr to try and convince the midfielder to join the Saudi Pro League, as he's a top target for Al Nassr to improve the midfield options. And this is said after Otavio is going to leave Al Nassr. At the moment, Fabian Ruiz's interest in joining the Saudi Pro League is unknown. However, Al Nassr have important proposals already, hoping to convince him to move. Sources suggest a 3-year contract until June 2028 and is ready to be offered to Fabian Ruiz with that salary worth around 400k per week, nearly 4 times his current wages at PSG. No talks or negotiations are ongoing between PSG and Nassr regarding the move, and Nassr will only start formal talks if Fabian Ruiz agrees personal terms. And Nassr are ready to offer around 60 million to sign Fabian Ruiz if they reach an agreement with Fabian over personal terms. Fabian just turned 29 and has less than 2 years remaining on his contract with Paris Saint Germain. Luis Enrique would love to keep Fabian Ruiz at the club, as he is highly appreciated both on and off the pitch. However, Paris Saint Germain will prove his sale if he requests a move to the Saudi Pro League. Nothing advanced or close, so done very early stages, one to keep an eye on. And then I found this report. This was said from Fabrizio Romano all the way back in June the 9th. Exclusive: Fabian Ruiz among the top targets on the list at Nassr this summer, as club plans to bring in new midfielder. No official proposal so far. He's a key player for PSG. They want to keep him, and Luis Enrique consider him as a crucial part of the team. So Fabian Ruiz and Nassr have had interest towards him for a very long time. And as they mentioned about Fabian Ruiz's situation at PSG, he has currently a contract until 2027. At the moment, 2025 until 2027 is a 2-year contract. And recent reports before mentioned Paris Saint Germain offering a 2+ year extension until 2029. Fabian Ruiz at that point will be 33. That's the contract Paris Saint Germain are looking for. Obviously, Paris Saint Germain were thinking about the idea of selling Fabian Ruiz last summer after that insane Euros, when they believed that was the highest price tag he would reach in the transfer market, looking at his old age. When you look at the Paris Saint Germain squad, it's very young. Fabian Ruiz is one of the older players alongside Marquinhos, for example, and even if you want to count Ousmane Dembele in that part. But the reason Fabian Ruiz was never had the potential departure last summer was because Luis Enrique vetoed it. He wanted Fabian Ruiz and sees him as a crucial part of the team. And I don't think that will change, especially after the Club World Cup and the Champions League season that Fabian Ruiz had for Paris Saint Germain. So Luis Enrique's opinion will still be the same. Paris Saint Germain, even if they want to sell him, I'm talking about Luis Campos, because he will see a 29-year-old with 60 million. He will probably think about accepting it. But as that report mentioned, it's all down to Fabian Ruiz if he decides. As they mentioned, he will get a 4-time higher salary at Al Nassr, what he's currently doing at PSG. And you can't forget one huge thing with Saudi as well. It's not that just they get a lot of money. It's also basically no income tax in Saudi Arabia, or very low income tax. So they will receive even more than 4 times the amount of wage that he wants. The reports mentioned if Fabian Ruiz accepts this, PSG will not block their way, and that goes for Luis Enrique. And I think the same. This is huge money for Fabian Ruiz, but he will have to make a decision. Will he want to continue his football career at the highest peak of football in Paris Saint Germain, or will he want to go to Al Nassr? And I won't even blame him, because that much money, especially when you're a football player, you basically have between 18 to 34 to maximize the amount of money you have. He's already won the Champions League with Paris Saint Germain. He's won the Euros with Spain. Maybe, though, he would want to stay at the highest level, at least until the World Cup in 2026, because he's a huge key player for De La Fuente's Spain side. I don't believe Fabian Ruiz will want to leave. I believe, as I said, some people at Paris Saint Germain might think about selling Fabian Ruiz, but Luis Enrique, I think his opinion about Fabian Ruiz is firm. But if Fabian Ruiz actually decides to want to join Al Nassr, I don't think this is a bad deal for Paris Saint Germain. We're selling one of our oldest players, even though he doesn't have the highest wage, and for 60 million to get a price of Fabian Ruiz, his market value on transfer market is around 30 to 40 million. So we would get a lot of money from Fabian Ruiz, which we can therefore, put into another midfielder. But I wouldn't want to do this. I believe Fabian Ruiz is one of the key players in this squad, especially when you bring in his experience. I mentioned Dembele, Fabian Ruiz, and Marquinhos. They are the most experienced players in this team, and it would be Obviously, then that experience would even more on Vitinha, on Neves, and the other midfielders that will be here next season. But I think Fabian Ruiz is a crucial part for Paris Saint Germain, and I wouldn't want to let him go. Even though 60 million for a 29-year-old is good, I believe Fabian Ruiz's importance at PSG is more than 60 million. And how the summer transfer window has gone so far, I wouldn't want to trade away Fabian and then get, I don't know who we'll get instead of Fabian Ruiz. So my opinion is firm. Paris Saint Germain should keep Fabian Ruiz. They should not listen to the Al Nassr offer. But obviously, if Fabian Ruiz decides to wanting to join Al Nassr after, the accomplishments he's had over the past year because of that high wage, and you know what, we can't disrespect the Saudi League. Al Nassr, one of the best teams in the Saudi League. Fabian Ruiz will get to play alongside Cristiano Ronaldo. Obviously, the most negative thing is that Al Nassr is not even in the Asian Champions League. They are in the Asian Europa League. So maybe he would want to rather to go to another Saudi club. But yeah, that's been it. Let me know in the comments down below. Would you guys sell Fabian Ruiz for 60 million? My opinion is no, but if it happens, I wouldn't be mad. I think this is a win-win situation. You either keep Fabian Ruiz or you get 60 million for Fabian Ruiz. You can't really go that bad. But because Saudi are after him, we should try to push the price tag a little bit more if it actually happens. But obviously, when it comes to the Saudi clubs, they pay players way more in wages than the actual transfer fee. That's been it from my boy PSG. Hopefully, guys have enjoyed this video. And as usual, allez, Paris.